Hi guys, welcome to Sabi Writers TV. I am Folakemi. Today I'll be taking you to meet the man behind the operations of Sabi Writers. Yes, you will be meeting our COO, Mr. Felix Ukattah, and we'll be discussing operational management. Yes, he'll be talking to us about the pros and the cons of managing business operation. So if you're an entrepreneur or a business owner, you don't want to miss this. Just stay tuned and we'll be right back after this short break. Welcome back, guys. So I'm in our COO's office. Yes, the man keeping everything about Sabi Writers operation in check, Mr. Felix Ukattah. Thank you so much for your time, sir.
You're welcome. Good to have you in my office.
Thank you, sir. So for those who don't know you, who don't know who you are, so can they please meet you?
All right. So my name is Felix Ukattah. I'm the COO. I'm the co-founder of Sabi Writers. Started with the responsibility of ensuring that all the operation in Sabi Writers is in check, and then managing the business as well, together with my co-founder.
Okay, so you mentioned you are the co-founder. Can you tell us the story behind that?
It goes back. It goes back to 2016. The Sabi Writers took off in 2018, January 8th to be precise. So it happened that the co-founder and I have been friends. We've been friends, and then we're also classmates. And then we've done a couple of things back in campus. And then when he wanted to set up the company, he invited me and said, "Guy, let's do this thing. The things we've been doing in campus, making impacts, creating an organization that stood the test of time. Let's come to the real world and do this." And then it didn't take me long to accept, because we had that chemistry of working together. And then we started doing something, not actually Sabi Writers, but something else. But along the way, along the path, we found Sabi Writers in 2018. So we started 2016, but we found Sabi Writers in 2018. And founding Sabi Writers in 2018 was something that we did not actually anticipate at the beginning. Okay. But then when the idea drops, and then it was something novel, it was something new. It was not as if there's an industry carved out for content writing or ghost writing, as the case may be. So it was trying to go into the journey of, you don't know, there's no particular template of how to run the business in Nigeria. There's no company to look up to and say, oh, this is the mother company we can mirror after. So it was, let's just try and see what we can do with this. And then along the way, along the journey, it started making sense. And then good enough, we started from one client to two clients to that to one staff to two staff to serving up to more than 300 clients in Nigeria and outside Nigeria, and also having up to 40 staff.
Wow. And
also having 2 different office locations. And it's amazing, an office location that can at least accommodate up to 100 staff. So it's amazing, and it's been a very wonderful journey. It's been an amazing journey. It's been a journey of learning. It's been a story of sacrifice, commitments, hard work, doggedness, and a whole lot of things in between that has kept us going, and also ensure that we're able to keep up the operations and also build the structure and system from the scratch up until what we have at the moment.
Okay, so you mentioned something about the business being something like a totally new space was where you delved into. So how was it like you didn't have any background knowledge, or maybe the industry has existed and people have tested the water. How was it like starting something totally new? Or did you have a background knowledge about running the operation or running the business before you started Sabi Writers with your friend?
So I think it was not as if we had a manual of how to run the business, especially when it comes to content writing. Writing for organizations, writing for individuals, writing for companies, for government agencies and all that. At the beginning, we didn't know how to cost. We didn't know the processes to go through. But then in the process of, there's that thing about if you don't know it, go and find a solution. That was what kept us going at the beginning. Sometimes jobs will come in. We didn't know how to price those jobs. We didn't know how to go about those jobs. But the mindset of getting into it, we figure out a way in between. That was what kept us going at the beginning. We made some mistakes, expectedly. We made some errors, but we got it right because in the midst of trying, we were able to figure out, okay, what actually is going to work? What works? Why did it work? How can we apply what work? What did not work? How can we drop that?
Okay, so I'm drawing out a lesson from there now. You're saying as a business owner or an entrepreneur, so you have to, if you keep trying and it doesn't work, the first thing is you don't give up. And the second thing is go back to your books and check. See what worked and what didn't work. Know what you can impute in your system as you move on, and know what you can't take in your journey. If I'm right?
Exactly. And so that helps you to place the business at a very good advantage, because it is not, most of the ideas we started with are not with us at the moment. Most of the ideas we brought up at the beginning, they are not here, because along the path, along the way, we dropped them off because they weren't making sense. They weren't positioned to take the company to the level where we wanted it to be. And so, like you said, true. As you move on, look at what is working, what didn't work, and then see how you can adjust. Drop off those that didn't work, and then capitalize on those that didn't work, and try to learn it.
Okay, so for the type of business Sabi Writers run, it's like if it's not a freelance business. So we know content writing is something that, would I say, thrive more with the freelancing style, but Sabi Writers did not incorporate that type of system. So how have you been able to cope, knowing that, okay, this business is, or this type of industry is more of the freelance, but Sabi Writers is a full-time and a full-scale writing company?
Okay, so thank you for that question. It's all about having a business model.
Okay.
The business model you think addresses your purpose. And so when we started, it was very, very clear that this is a business model we wanted to choose. This is a business model that can help us create a global company. Okay. If we are taking up the freelance model, perhaps we won't have scale. And organizations we have in our client base wouldn't have hired us because of the fact that we are freelance. But then because we've been able to create a well-tailored, structured company, okay, that has both the writers, both the editors, the designers, a one-stop shop for everything writing. Okay. So, but it wasn't easy at the beginning trying to incorporate this because it was so new to people. You have writers or staff coming and then they are not used to this kind of system. For them, it's like you're caging them. You're trying to stifle their movement, trying to stifle their progress and all that. But along the line, as they understood how the process worked, we came to realize that, wow, this is quite beautiful. This is something that a company I could actually be in and have a career path for myself. Okay. A company where I can have all that it takes to work to become a staff and then grow your career path.
Okay, so it's more like the model, it's more for professionals, career-minded writers.
Exactly.
And creatives.
Exactly.
Okay, so in your years of managing Sabi Writers operation, what are the challenges you faced what are the things? Because I'm sure it's not like everything has been smooth and rosy and so perfect. So what challenges have you faced?
Okay, the first challenge is creating a structure, system and structure for the company.
Okay.
Like I said at the beginning, there was no template of how, where we could borrow, say this is how the structured content writing company like us, professional content writing company is. So it was a struggle at the beginning, trying to sit down and articulate how would the process look like? How should the process be? How do you move from one department to the other department? How do you grow? How do you set up several things? How do you ensure that you have an organization, a company that is devoid of chaos, a company where somebody can come in and it's a professional environment where everybody is well respected for who you are, and then there's a hierarchy, you know, and there's reporting lines, and you are accountable for what you do, and you are being appraised. There's performance appraisal, there is growth. How do you grow staff? How do you equip staff? How do you train them? How do you reward them?
Okay.
How do you a couple of things of running an organization. So it was quite a struggle at the beginning, but with time and ensuring that at the beginning, at the foundational stage, we're able to lay down some of those things. And as we grew in number, we started to tweak some of them so that we can address the present reality. It was very, very challenging at that point because it was a lot of trial and error, and then we got burnt sometimes along the way, but then we got some things right, and then those things we got right, we started implementing them and built on it and kept on innovating on ways to ensure that we have a company that is well organized, well structured, and can serve mass markets,
okay,
both locally and globally.
You talked about reward system now, because I know that's like the thing employees are after. That's one of the things that make them stay in a company. They want to see what they would benefit if they are with your company. And you mentioned the employees in Sabi Writers are over 40, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
So how have you been able to, what's the reward system in Sabi Writers like?
So talking about reward system, it's something that we also figured out at the beginning.
Okay.
It's a case of how much do we reward a staff, an entry-level staff, without experience, how much do we reward an entry-level staff with experience. So those are things that we captured. And how do we also encourage and motivate the staff when it comes to reward? What do we give them in terms of bonuses? What do we give them in terms of welfare packages? Do we give them in terms of salary, take-home bonuses, and all that? So those things were part of the things we structured at the beginning, and things we kept on tweaking, and we are also tweaking every day to see how do we make it better.
Okay. So the reason I mentioned the reward system is that we know employees are always particular about that. And the truth is, most companies don't pay attention to that, and it causes, there's a problem with employees' retention. So they struggle with, there's always a very high rate of, especially for startups, there's always a high rate of turnover from employees. So that was the reason why I had to pose that question to you. So as Felix Ukattah, not the CEO of Sabi Writers now, so I'm coming to you directly. So what would you say is your greatest challenge? We know the office of the COO comes with a lot of stress, a lot of responsibilities, but how have you been able to cope?
It's a question that I think I'll answer in two ways.
Okay.
First, purpose. Looking at the big picture of why did we start in the first place? What was the vision of the company?
Okay.
And the vision of the company is quite huge, to become the leading and most impactful content writing agency in Africa. And our goal is to hit the 54 African countries. And we're just starting with Nigeria and then Lagos. And so the big picture is quite huge. Even though we serve other African and European markets, but our focus is how do we ensure that we are widely known across all African countries that we have in the continent. So that big picture is something that keeps me motivated, that we are not there yet, but we still have a lot of work to do. So that motivation is always there. 2 is legacy, impact. I've always looked at making impacts all my life. And so Sabi Writers is more or less like, what would you be known for? What would you be known to have achieved in terms of impact? For the fact that the history of Sabi Writers is on my fingertips. We started it and I've grown it in 4 years to what it is at the moment. Putting all my heart, putting all my hard work into it, it gives me a sense of fulfillment that, yes, you're making an impact. And seeing the growth of the company as well is something that inspires me to go on. And then, together with my co-founder, and then the zeal, the energy it brings to the company. If it's bringing that kind of energy and I'm dousing the energy off, it means that something is wrong. So as a bringing up the energy, I'm also supporting that kind of energy and then ensuring that the energy it brings on is seen in the company and then is institutionalized in the company such that the company can move to the next level.
Okay, the energy level. So you're telling me the energy level must match. So I think that's an advice for people that are into partnerships. Yes, if you have a partner in your business, so it has to be there has to be a mid-level, a point where you meet. So it's not like the other person is here and you're here, or you're pulling the person down. Yeah. So thank you so much for that. So let me go back to you as the COO now, not as Felix Ukattah. Right. So what is the biggest challenge you faced, and how were you able to overcome the challenge as the COO of Sabi Writers?
Wow, that's a very tough question because streamlining the challenges to just one is a difficult task because operations itself has a whole lot of challenges embedded in the office, and heading that department it's quite huge. So, but to do justice to your question, I'll just talk about a challenge that I'm sure most entrepreneurs out there are also facing. Okay. It's the issue of, so ordinarily, in a company, the sales team, the sales department brings in the money. Okay. That is the pipeline through which the money comes into the company. Okay. But the operation is seen as that department that takes the money out of the company because that is where activities, things have to be done, things have to move, expenses have to be made. So the operational expenses, the OPEX, is actually a big challenge because trying to streamline how do we increase revenue and reduce expenses. That is the goal of every organization.
Wow. That even happen.
So that's a challenge. So the company wants to increase revenue while ensuring that there's a minimum expenditure that goes to operations, if possible. So it's actually being a challenge for us or for the department and for myself, because every day, especially in an economy like ours, like you wake up one morning and then the cost of diesel, it's above the roof. Wow. I can imagine this year we started the year with a diesel cost of around 330 naira, and that was the initial budget for the year. The budget was supposed to be 330 for the yearly budget for the year. At least we moved it to 350 to accommodate at least 20 naira difference. And then we thought it was a joke from 350 to 400 to 500 to 550 to 650 to 700 to 800 to 850.
Wow.
That's huge.
Yeah.
And so how do we ensure that the company is running and then there's lights? It's actually a challenge. The sales guy wants you to stop spending the money, reduce the way you spend the money, but things have to move on. So it's actually been a challenge. So what we try to do is to ensure that we And what I've come up to do is, so instead of using the diesel, why don't we use the fuel?
Okay.
As a backup. So instead of using the diesel, why don't we use the fuel so I can be able to reduce the operational expenses? Though not every organization have that liberty because of the size of, but then having a big generator that can serve the whole offices is something that we had as an advantage. And then that has actually helped us in that regard. And as the company keeps growing, what that means is that the operational expenses will also grow. So how do I ensure that the expenses, at least, if not double, so it does not double, how do I reduce it even if the same size becomes double? Okay. So it's actually a bane, it's actually a challenge. And then trying to solve that, we've been able to ask ourselves tough questions. What are the necessary expenses to be made? Wow. What are the expenses that we need to hold on for now? And then perhaps execute in the future? How do we ensure that the department or the company does not run out of cash in terms of ensuring that they keep the company running and then the expenses is reduced? Okay. How do we ensure that we defer some expenses that can be made, instead of being made now and nothing will spoil, can be made in the future when things are relatively stable? So juggling that every day and ensuring that, okay, sometimes when they bring the bills to my table, I'm like, can you just hold on? Can you hold on for now? Can you hold on for this month? Can we see how we can do it next month? Can we defer these expenses? So it's actually a challenge. And then most staff or most people in the department may not really understand the reason why. Because at the back end, I'm seeing the numbers. I'm looking at what is actually happening. I'm looking at how do we stay afloat? How do we ensure that we don't run out of cash? How do we ensure that the sales from the sales team is up and running? How do we ensure that the expense side of the company is also going out, but not going out as fast as sales is coming in? So trying to juggle those two things and to arrive at a midpoint is actually a challenge for every operational department.
So right now, I would say you have a knife that used to slice the operational costs.
Honestly. Wow. But it has not been easy, but there's a limit to which you can slice. But then you just have to understand that the company has to move, and the economy is what it is, and you just have to live with it.
Okay. So we actually don't have much time. We've spent a lot of time. So what would you describe your leadership style as? Like, what leadership style do you operate by? So
I've always, I think it's something that it's within, it's the, I don't know if I'm going to call it a leadership style, but I'll say it's solution oriented.
Okay.
So I'm that kind of person, even as an individual, who is always conscious about solution.
Okay.
So whenever you come to me and you mention a problem, or a staff comes to me and says, "Sir, this is the issue we are having," or the department, the first thing in my head is, how can it be fixed?
Okay.
What is the solution towards it? Who do I contact? Who do we contact? Who do we talk to? Who can actually address this if it's something that cannot be resolved within? So having that solution-oriented mindset has always helped me in my leadership style. So that whenever I see a problem, I'm thinking of how do I solve it?
Okay, so would I say you're not the person that, okay, what happened? How did it happen? Why did this happen?
Yes, that panicky mood. I'm not the kind of person that is always panicky whenever a bad situation arises.
Okay.
Whenever I say bad situation, the first instinct in my head is solution.
Okay.
Solving the problem, as against trying to run around and try. So most times when a bad situation happen, or an emergency, or maybe an accident in the office, the first thing that comes to my head is calm, and then what is the next thing to do?
Okay, so I would say that that's actually an advice for people out there running business. Don't go after the problem first. You can come back to that later, but seek solution to that problem. So what other advice do you have to give entrepreneurs out there, or people, business owners generally, operational advice?
Okay, so the operational advice is always at the beginning, for new budding entrepreneurs or young entrepreneurs there, at the beginning, learn to institutionalize systems and structure in your company.
Okay.
It helps. And also discipline yourself to ensure that you're also within the frame of that system and structure.
Okay.
Do not say system and structure is for the staff, while I have my own separate or distinct system and structure. System and structure, if you want to run a pure and viable organization, you should subject yourself to the system and structure put in place for every staff in the company. That's one. Two, always know the right time to quit an idea. Because over time, we've had several ideas, but not all the ideas are on the table at the moment. Because we've discarded most of them because they didn't work. So instead of being emotional about that idea, if it's not working, take it out of the table. Don't kill yourself about it. The same thing with product, the same thing with service, anything at all. If it's not working, kill it. Another advice I want to give is, like I always said, always be solution oriented. Okay. So instead of talking about the economy, talking about the issues, there are a lot of issues that can stop an entrepreneur from progressing or a company from progressing in the country. But here we are. So always think about solution. If there's a problem from the economy side, how do you solve it? Such that you'll be able to stay afloat and also keep the business running.
That's true. Okay, so now I want to ask a personal question again. So tell us something people don't know about you. Now, I'm not asking you to tell us your middle name or something. Like, tell us just something people don't know about you. Let us be the first person to know.
That's a tough one.
Okay.
I'll say what most people don't know about me is that my first salary in Sabi Writers was, guess what? It was just 5,000 naira.
5,000 naira. Oh, wow.
I wasn't talking about 1980. I'm not talking about 1990. I'm talking about as early as 2018.
Wow. 2018, like 2018.
So
wow.
That was my first salary, 5,000 naira. We've gone bigger than that. But that was the beginning, and then we just had to do with what we had at that
time. I'm sure 5,000 naira can even go give pot of steel that would last you for 2 weeks or so. Yeah, like the amount of. Let me not even go into that right now. So guys, now you know what our CEO earned when he started Sabi Writers with our CEO, like 5,000 naira. It's not in 1999 or 18. He had 5,000 naira in 2018. Thank you so much, sir, for your time. And yes, that was an exclusive detail you know about our CEO now. So don't tell anybody, guys. Don't tell anybody. So thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you, sir. So guys, thank you so much for watching this video today. If you've not subscribed to our channel, please do that now, because we'll be bringing you exclusive interviews in-house. Yes, probably the next person that will come on the show will be our head of writing. Yeah, our HOW. That's how we call her. Yeah, head of writing. So thank you so much. Also, don't forget to click the notification icon. Yes, the bell button. Click it to get notification about our videos, as we'll be uploading more content for you to enjoy. So thank you so much, guys, for being with us on this video. Till next time, we'll come your way. Bye.